Trial initiated. Jade Falcon protocol. All systems nominal. Group fire engaged.
Hey guys, welcome to the very last mission of the Jade Falcon campaign of Mechwarrior 2. This is the last trial, and for this one we've been given a 20-ton Firemoth to use. You can see our first opponent is an 85-ton Marauder. This is already a pretty extreme matchup. The Marauder's pretty nasty, with those 3 PPCs and a bunch of energy weapons besides. Now, you could just dive straight in to engage the Marauder, but I don't think that's a very good idea. So I like to try and circle around at the start of this trial, and approach the Marauder from the other side of the kind of dense city-like terrain that's in the middle of the arena. It at least gives you some cover, so you're not coming at him head-on. Now fortunately we are using a Firemoth, and it's equipped with Mask, so we have about a 200 km/h top speed, which, you know, is pretty fast. You can see, as long as you stay about 300 meters or more away from him and you're moving perpendicularly, Marauder can't even hit me, even with laser weapons. You just can't lead enough.
Satellite link established.
Yeah, these buildings give pretty good cover, but they're not indestructible. So you don't want to stay behind a single one of them for too long, or you might find it being shot out from underneath you. As always, when you're engaging a heavier mech, you want to move in when he's facing away from you and try and get as many shots in while he's facing away and he can't retaliate. And you definitely don't want to go in when he's doing what he is now, which is backing up, because that's just asking to get a face full of PPCs. You really need to use hit and run tactics in this last trial. And fortunately, the Firemoth is pretty well equipped to do just that. It's very fast, and unlike the Kit Fox, you actually have torso twist available. I'm doing pretty well at this point. I managed to take out the Marauder's leg without being hit a single time in return. So this is pretty much the ideal situation you want to be in before you go into the second phase. I do think the Marauder's legs are unusually fragile. I'm not sure why, but they always seem to go down even quicker than I'd expect.
New rank acquired. Shoot engagement sphere to initiate trial phase 2. You have 15 seconds. Trial phase 2 initiated. Chain fire engaged.
Okay, here we go. We have a 20-ton Firemoth pitted against a 100-ton Direwolf. This is the lightest mech in the game against the heaviest. The best armored, the most heavily armed. This is about as tricky as they could possibly make it.
External camera engaged.
You do need to be really careful when going up against this Direwolf. He's packing a lot of firepower, and if you're in his sights for more than a second or so, it's pretty much over. You're just going to be torn to pieces. Once again, I like to just switch up my cover. Don't stay behind one building for too long. The last thing you want is to be sitting there and the building goes down and you're just sitting there not moving, and you're going to take a ton of damage if that happens.
Mask engaged. Satellite link established.
Piloting the Firemoth in this sort of terrain can be a bit tricky because you need to juggle the throttle a lot. You can move fast when you're at full throttle, but you pretty much can't turn at all. And since you need to move fast and be maneuverable, you're going to be switching up your throttle speeds quite a lot. Okay, this is what you want. You can see he's turned away. If I can stay behind him, he'll keep trying to turn around, but he won't be able to figure out which way he wants to turn to get a beat on me, as long as I keep moving back and forth. This is a good start. I've already got in a decent amount of damage, and I haven't taken a single hit in return yet. Oh yeah, that's what you don't want to happen. You see the building I was sheltering behind has just been taken out. Luckily, I still had my momentum, so I could throttle back up and get out of there. I think I only took a single hit, so it wasn't too bad at the end of the day. Now I don't usually like to take cover behind this little short building, because if either you or the enemy mech moves up the slope of the arena behind me, you can just shoot right over it. So I usually like to shelter behind one of the taller buildings. It gives better cover. Now I could go for a headshot on this direwolf, like I did on Dwilt Radek's mech in the last mission. But that really kind of only worked because I was using a much heavier mech, and I had a couple of other mechs in there to help me. If I try to go for a frontal assault on this direwolf in a fire moth, it probably wouldn't end well. It's probably in your best interest just to play as conservatively as you can. Kind of amazed he didn't manage to hit me then. You can see, I think he has already taken a few head hits, but it's not a strategy I want to rely on in this fight. It's much better just to try and take out his arms, I think, which removes most of his firepower. Looks like he's just waiting for me to come out. Galaxy Commander Veshi.
Satellite link established.
He's just going to sit there, so I'm going to have to make a move. Oh, that could have gone better. You can see I mistimed my throttle down there. When you are using a fast mech like the Firemoth, you have to account for your, the amount of space it takes to brake from top speed. See just how much he mauled me in the second or so that I was exposed. You don't want to put yourself under the guns of a direwolf like this. If I can just take out those arms, I should have a much better chance. There goes the left arm. Which takes about almost half his firepower. I think the direwolf is pretty heavily weighted towards carrying most of its guns to its arms. Yeah, his cockpit's definitely going yellow now.
Satellite link established.
You could try and go for a leg kill on direwolf, but I feel like the legs just have too much armor to make it worth it. I think going for the arms is a pretty good choice, because it also helps if you just make a bad decision and expose yourself when you really shouldn't have. If you've already taken out one of his arms, then you're going to take half as much damage as you might have.
Level critical. Shutdown sequence initiated. Shutdown sequence overridden.
They've really given you a nice config to work with here with this Firemoth. You've got so many laser weapons that you can just jump out, do a whole bunch of damage, and then just dive back into cover to cool down. I mean, in this terrain you don't really need to keep up a high sustained fire rate. You can just rely on doing a lot of burst damage. Because with the Firemoth's speed and agility, you can easily get back into cover and cool off. And there goes the second building.
Heat level critical. Shutdown sequence
And a mass
initiated. Shutdown sequence overridden.
That was
Mass
really badly timed.
engaged.
It's fortunate that both his arms are gone. If he was still armed at this point, I probably would have died right there. Yeah, we've definitely got this guy on the ropes now.
Enemy mech destroyed. Trial phase 2 successful. Second rank acquired. Mission successful.
Well, that's it, guys. We've successfully taken out both phases of this trial, and we've achieved the rank of Khan of the Jade Falcons. I'll see everyone next time for the first mission of the Wolf campaign.